To the state of education now, and a clearer picture tonight on how the pandemic is impacting students. The nation's 2022 report card shows Arizona students' math scores fell compared to before the pandemic, but stayed steady in reading. No states saw increases in either subject. The future for education in Arizona on the ballot this year as voters decide who takes over as the state's top educator. Two familiar faces are running to be the state superintendent of public instruction, incumbent Democrat Kathy Hoffman, and a man who held the seat before, Republican Tom Horne. Eleni Dow sat down with both candidates, starting with Tom Horne.
Republican candidate Tom Horne says it's time for him to come back. Horne held the school's chief position from 2003 to 2011 before being elected to state attorney general.
And my friends tell me, you're going backwards by running for superintendent again. And I say, no, the big problems are in the schools, and that's really what I want to work on.
One of his biggest priorities is to stop critical race theory, which he believes is being taught in public schools.
And the reason I'm opposed to it is what I believe are my ideals and the American ideal, and that is we're all individuals, we're all brothers and sisters under the skin. Race is irrelevant to anything. What's relevant is what do you know, what can you do, what is your character, what is your ability to appreciate beauty, and not what race you haven't been born into.
Every voter we talk to just mentions how Arizona is at the bottom of the education pool. How would you lift the state back up?
Arizona's at the bottom because of a failure of leadership by the current superintendent. And I have a program to bring it back up based on the experience I had when I was superintendent. We did have high test scores.
He doesn't blame Superintendent Kathy Hoffman for low state test scores due to COVID, but he does blame her for the scores before then. Numbers from the State Department of Education do show a higher pass rate while Horne was in office. However, the state did change the test after Horne's tenure. The Department of Education says the new tests after 2015 were brought up to standards and are more rigorous.
What would you do to keep students safe?
I've long been an advocate. This goes back at least 20 years in my career in education policy, of a policeman in every school. We call them school resource officers, or SROs, and they're not only good for safety, but they're there all the time, so that they make friends with the kids, and the kids learn to trust them.
If elected, Horne says he will advocate for more funding for schools, but in an accountable way. He wants to put resources into schools that make sure students are passing tests. In Phoenix, Eleni Dow, ABC 15, Arizona.